Namaste, everyone. It's Michelle Skaletski-Boyd, intuitive medium and best-selling author. For many years, I've been sitting on my premier package, my signature product, not really sure what to do with it, and I realized it's time to share it with the world. And so I invite you to enjoy the experience, as I like to say, and share it with your friends, and also comment and live more in the beautiful energies of God, Source's light and love.
Namaste, it's Michelle Skaletski-Boyd, the corporate woo-woo founder of SoulFelt Words and author of Heaven Sent Life Lessons and Conversations with God. Welcome to video number 2 in this 3-part video training series. For video number 1, we began to deepen self-awareness. A SoulFelt, thank you for all your comments and your support. Please keep them coming. I appreciate them very much. And I sincerely appreciate all the trust that you have now in learning how to ground and center yourself better than ever before. So today is video number 2, and in this segment, we'll be removing some doubts so you can start developing and strengthening the trust that you have with your higher self. Some of you from video number 1 already guessed it, you're too stuck in left brain. So today's training is really all about discovering your inner truth, and it's where I'm going to teach you how to let go, how to move into surrender, so peace and love can begin to grow. To begin, let me walk you back in time to how I went from being in the corporate world to doing what I do now. After my marriage to my husband became more stable, we moved from the Midwest to the mountains, where I began to work on my first best-selling book. I also became certified as a hypnotherapist through the International Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association. See, I originally thought that I was supposed to work with doctors or those in the dentistry field. But life doesn't always follow our plan, does it? See, what happened to me instead was, while I was practicing on people in my home to meet the required certification hours, while people were there to get assistance with weight loss or to quit smoking, what started happening was completely unexpected. Their departed loved ones and spirit guides started coming through and bringing messages. It was really surreal, to say the least. And though I had been able to communicate with the afterlife as a child, I had ignored those gifts during college and completely shut it off in the corporate world. But now they were emerging again, so much so that I was led to use my hypnosis certificate to exclusively help people tap into their own intuition and or learn how to connect with their angels and their loved ones on their own. Yep, their lives began to change, and little did I realize, as soon as I said yes, my life changed dramatically. I was discovered by Bob Olson, who is the founder of Afterlife TV, and he chose me then as one of his best psychic mediums in the nation, alongside other veterans like James Von Prague. So maybe you're here because you're hoping to fine-tune your intuition, or perhaps you're feeling lost or turned around, or you need a little more guidance or direction. Or maybe you're ready to meet your own spirit guide or your angel, or to connect with a loved one and cross the veil. I'll be teaching all this and more in a 9-month intensive called Learn to Be Your Own Medium. But for now, it may comfort you to know that you can learn to do this too. Remember, it begins with self-awareness. And now that you're becoming more self-aware, let's begin to release those fears and doubts that keep getting in the way so you can start learning to fully trust yourself and gain more intuitive clarity. All right, so now on to the training. So I trust that you've begun to do more breath work and that you become more self-aware. Have you noticed how your left brain might be getting in the way? For some of you, it's blah, 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 talk. It's saying things like, this is stupid, this is dumb, or I don't understand the point of this. And so let me explain how energy works, because today is about building self-trust. And in order to build self-trust, we need to get all of those questions out of the way so you feel more comfortable and you can release some of those doubts. So when it comes to intuition, it's really important that you understand a few things about your energy field. First of all, the brain in your head, your intellect, as you probably have learned, you have 2 hemispheres in your brain. You have the left hemisphere and it controls the right side of the body. You have the right hemisphere and it controls the left side of the body. Well, when it comes to intuition, Most people go into intuition using the left side of the brain, using their intellect, using their logic. And what happens is they're not able to get very far at all. So when you're moving into intuition, you want to allow the right brain to lead. You want to allow it to move you in through the door of imagination. All intuition must go through the world of imagination. So when someone says to me, Michelle, I feel like I'm making it up, I say, that's great, celebrate, because it should feel like you're making it up. In the beginning, if it doesn't feel like you're making it up, you're doing it wrong. So for those of you who need rules, please write that one down. It's really important that when you're learning how to connect with higher self, when you're learning to trust your intuition, that you understand you must move through the doorway of imagination. So that being said, when you are doing the breath work, so long as you are feeling into it, which is right brain, really opening your heart and allowing yourself to feel the energy, trusting it, imagining it, spiraling and flowing, then you did well. If for some reason you kept saying to yourself, ooh, I ran out of breath, or ooh, I got that wrong, or in your left brain kept trying to get the rules or kept trying to get it right, I encourage you, before you move forward, go back and practice a little bit more until you can get so fluid and so in flow that you've totally begun to surrender. Really important. The next thing that I'd like to tell you is that we all have an energy field that extends beyond our physical body. So I have a dear friend who was the former CEO of HeartMath. His name is Bruce Cryer. Some of you hear me talk about him a lot because he's a wonderful man. He taught me a lot about our energy field. HeartMath has done extensive studies on the fact that our heart especially extends outward, and it extends way beyond our body, up to 6 to 10 feet it's been measured. So our aura, our energy field, is not only in front of us, it's also behind us. It's not only to the left of us, it's also to the right of us. It's not only above us, which is what I kept trying to do whenever I tried to connect to the afterlife when I was in the corporate world and I would just spin. It's also below us. And that's why dispersing your energy throughout your entire body is so important. That's what it really means to ground, to use your whole vessel, your whole body, and to really move. Your soul has to become embodied. In order for the energy to move, in order for you to tap into intuition, you have to use all of you. So what we're going to do now is I'd like for you to close your eyes. We're going to do that same breathing exercise that I taught you in video number 1, but we're going to just change it up a bit, okay? So imagine that you just exhaled through the bottom of your right foot, and now you're beginning the inhale. And just as you are doing, you're going to allow it to begin to spiral up the body, approximately right around the third eye, and then down. Now, for the next round, I want you to become aware. As you're doing this, as you're picturing and imagining it and feeling it, as you're knowing it and sensing it, are you doing it with all your energy in front of you, or are you using your entire energy field and allowing it to move through you? This is key. Remember, your energy extends beyond the physical body. So as you're spiraling the breath, allow it to come all the way through you. Some people, I say, imagine that you're sewing. And rather than you moving the needle, pushing the needle through with the breath, allow yourself just to be the tail end of the string. Just allow it to come all the way through your whole being. So we're going to just do that again. Begin to inhale and feel the breath coming all the way through you, looping all the way up to the left of you, to the right of you, in front of you, behind you. There are no rules. Whatever feels good, just use all of you. And then down in the same fashion. And yes, it's okay if the energies flip or move or loop or become, kind of all over the place. It's all right. There are no rules. Just keep practicing that for a little bit. Good. Now that you know that, and you can feel and sense what it's like to move all of your energies around, I'm going to start teaching you how to move even more into self-trust. So we're going to go a little deeper now. So I'd like for you to close your eyes, and I'd like for you to become aware of the tip of your nose. Just become totally aware of the tip of your nose. Now I'd like for you to get a sense of the energy between the tip of your nose and that area that I like to call your comfort zone, which is right between the eyes, right at that third eye, the bridge area of your nose. And I want you to notice the energy between that spot and the tip of your nose. Just become aware of that line of energy. And I want you in your mind to bounce from that center of your eyes, the third eye area, to the tip of your nose, almost like you're doing a jump forward and back. Now, when you get to the tip of your nose, I want you just to stop for a minute. So kind of jump back and forth. And then at one point, when you get to the tip of your nose, just stop. And just hang out on the tip of your nose for a minute. Now, as you're hanging out in the tip of your nose, I want you to check to see whether or not you're really in the tip of your nose. Just check it out for me. Notice. Now, some of you are saying, yeah, I'm in the tip of my nose. I can feel it. I know it. I trust it, because your self-trust is good. Some of you jump back into your comfort zone to look to see whether or not you were really in the tip of your nose. And if that was you, here's what I'll tell you. The moment that you jumped back into the tower of your head, your comfort zone, to check to see if you were in your nose, you were no longer in your nose. You were no longer there. And it's really important when you're in it that you stay in it and you trust it. Because the moment you check to see whether or not you're right, you're moving back into logic. You're moving back into rules, and you're no longer connected. This is what happens, for example, we connect with a loved one. The loved one starts to communicate with us. We either see or hear, or we're dreaming or something. And what happens? We jump into the left brain. We say, is it really you? And we question. The moment we question, we jump right here. And the moment we jump right here, the disconnection is lost. And so when you're in it, trust you're in it and stay there. So everybody, please go into the tip of your nose. Just be there and just hang out there for a while. And now from the tip of your nose, I'd like for you to go into your upper lip. Just hang there. And if you find yourself saying things like, am I there? You're back here. Go back to your nose and then go back to your lip. Just trust that you're there. And now into your lower lip. Just hang out there for a while and notice what that feels like. See, remember how I told you that most people are comfortable from here to here? What I'm asking you to do is just to start to strengthen your self-trust a little more. Most of us, we're real comfortable hanging out in this spot. And so we can jump from our nose into our lip, into our bottom lip without any concerns. It's like, yeah, I'm not that far from my comfort zone. If something happens, I could jump back in. The issue is you want to learn to move your energies lower and lower and lower and to disperse them so that you're not hanging out here all the time, so that you can start to widen it, embody your soul. And so as that occurs, as you're allowing that energy to move into your nose and then into your lip, move it into the chin and notice what happens there. Just be there. And again, as this is happening, begin to notice, what does it feel like to be here and then to hop back here? To be here and then to hop back here. If you find yourself hopping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you have an issue with self-trust. And so you're going to want to take baby steps. Just go to your nose and hang out there for a while, and then just slowly, gradually begin to move your energy. Really important. For those of you who are really more right-brained and you're already really trusting your intuition, this is a piece of cake for you. Here's what I will advise you. If you can do this real easily and you're already jumping, you're like, yep, I'm in my chin. Come on, Michelle, get with it. If this is you, what I'm going to tell you is you have to remember to slow down. Because what happens for people who are more right-brained, see, we need to be balanced. Our energy has to work together, remember? We don't want it to work separate. Even though the right brain leads into intuition, we don't want it to go too crazy. We need that left brain to kind of keep us in our body and to keep us conscious of what's going on. Otherwise, we're going to be all blissed out. So what I will tell you is have some patience. Have some patience. It's important that you take things a little slow. Because what can happen if you immediately jump from your head into your heart, which many of you are good at doing if you're living in the right brain hemisphere a little more, is you're going to flood yourself out. You're going to feel overwhelmed with so many emotions that you're just going to totally spin. So that's why we want to go slow with this. Go from the chin, slowly down into the throat. Some people imagine that they're drinking a cool beverage or a warm beverage. And just follow that energy. Be with it. And then be in your heart. Really important. If you go from here to here and you jump too soon, you're going to be overwhelmed with emotions and you're going to flood yourself. You'll start to feel depressed, or you're going to start to cry, or you're going to wonder what happened. Just remember this conversation, you went too fast. Another tip that I can give you is when you're doing this, remember you don't just want to use the front of you. You want to be centered. So when I ask you to move down, for example, you're going to go from the center of your eyes down into your throat. Make sure that it's in the center of yourself, not the front or just the back. We want it to be kind of centered. This is why you need to be aware of your energy. The energy in front of you and the energy behind you should be equally dispersed. The energy to the left of you and to the right of you equally dispersed so that you really feel what it's like to be centered. And then you start to move your energy down. Now, here's what happens is when you start to move your energy out of your head and you're starting to move your energy, for example, into your nose, into your lips, into your chin, and you begin to move it into your heart, and even lower, we can use that belly, the core of who we are. When we start using this and dispersing this, we become grounded. Then we know what it feels like to be in our tailbone. And when we're in our tailbone, we're solid, we're secure, we're centered. When we're using this space right here in our abdomen area, we're really, really there. In other words, we're not here pretending we're there. We're really there. Just like when you're really in your nose, you know it. When you're really in the core of who you are, what happens is we start to feel. And when we start to feel, the soul stirs. And when the soul stirs, that's higher self. Higher self communication occurs there. Higher self connection occurs there. So between now and the next video, I encourage you to begin to leave your comfort zone a little more. And not just in the front side of you, in the back side of you, to the left, to the right. Begin to feel yourself breathing into it so that when you're cross-patterning your breath, you're actually moving with the breath rather than just pretending the breath is moving. You actually become the breath. There's a big difference. In other words, rather than just pretending you're in your nose, you know you're in your nose. That's what I mean. That's the key element. And so I trust that between now and the next video, you're going to just have some fun with it. Remember, we don't want this to become work. If this becomes work, it becomes a chore. If it becomes a chore, it becomes a task. And if it becomes a task, there are rules involved. And then we're leading too much with the left brain. The key is to have fun, to be playful, to keep it light, and to allow ourselves to begin to open up that imaginative door. And for you right-brainers, take it slow. Have patience. Have fun, but go slow. Go slow. And then everything will align beautifully, and you're going to feel really, really well. I trust this training serves you well, and I hope you enjoyed the experience of beginning to learn how to surrender and release so your higher self can guide you and start taking the lead. Because when you take away your doubts, true transformation can occur. Stay tuned for video number 3, where I'm going to personally walk you through a guided meditation where you can connect with one of your angels, your spirit guides, or departed loved one.